Welcome to another broadcast of Don't Give Up. This is a series for my homies doing the T to B journey, trauma to being, where you might be coming to accept where you started, what you've gone through, the choices you made after those things, and all of the other circumstances that can flow through them. Good morning, everybody. Hi. All right, so if you're just joining, I haven't said yet, we are talking about letting go today. Oh, this is a fun one. Because unless you let go, you can't hold on. Oh, hey. Okay, great. So in letting go, what are we letting go of? Oh, so nice. Thank you. What are we letting go of? We're letting go of ideas. That's easy, right? Because it doesn't mean you have to change people, either in or out of your life, or change them in their behavior, or travel back in time, or control the future. It's just letting go of an idea. And ideas are tricky. Spirit told me to bring over my good markers today. These are Poscas. If you are crafty and you haven't used these yet, they're super fun. Oh my God, is this my first, I feel like I'm doing the social media box reveal where people sell stuff. I'm not affiliated with Posca, but I would like to be. Actually, I have to know more about them as a company before I line up with them. But thus far, I love what they're doing with these acrylic paint pens. Okay, so you're letting go of ideas. And I said ideas there's a bit to them. There are layers to them. So you have kind of an idea on one level. Oops, I forgot to write backwards. Idea on one level, and that level is, this is what happened. We'll call that the base. Idea one, this is what happened. See how it's not this is what happened, it's the idea of this is what happened. And I say that because you have a component of experience that is objective. These are the facts. The facts are this action, this result, there are things that can be seen. It's very important, seemingly, if you're on this T to B journey, that you let things be what they fucking are to start. Sorry to get all up in it about it, but what happened to you somewhere along the way is you were trained away from acknowledging stuff that wasn't right, or things that other people weren't prepared to acknowledge, either within themselves or around the circumstances. And that's okay. God bless. We're not here to point fingers. We're only saying, these things have and can happen. Being on the ground about it, allowing yourself to really see and say, this is what it was, this is what it is, objectively, the actual facts of it. See how excited I'm getting? And it's important because you can wrap stuff in understanding in such a way that you don't see the thing anymore. If somebody's being a tool to you, but you wrap it in this story about how they got there, what you've been doing, you might miss they're not doing, they're doing X, Y, or Z, which isn't okay. Perhaps the ideas you're wrapping them in are convenient because then you don't have to look at what you're doing, because you're busy with your ideas. It's important to see what it is and to look for, what role are you playing? Say it plainly. I'm doing this. Whenever you go on a tirade about what somebody else is doing or hasn't done or did or didn't do, whatever, also allow yourself to acknowledge whatever role you were playing as plainly as possible. Not the reasoning, not the whatever. This person won't leave me alone, blah, 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 blah. Are you taking their calls? Just say things. Let yourself come to see reality as it is. Again, if you're on the T to B journey, that's likely challenging for you because you've been trained out of your power and trained out of your safety to do that, which means let it be a gentle process. We're just going to very gently come to accept and see things ever so easily. Just allow our awareness expand. You don't have to push your head into it or run right there right now. Let it evolve. So as it pertains to letting go, remember, we're letting go of ideas. We have the idea of what happened. I'm going to put under that the objective facts, the things we just talked about. That's the red line. This is like objectively what occurred. Then the ideas around it are about why and the motives and the impact and the causal chain, all the things that aren't the actual thing. What it means. I'm going to give a blue line for what it means. What it means is a very powerful place for you to make moves. You can look for, hey Philadelphia, you can look for where, so meaning is like, you make it up. And you make it up because as the story unfolds, the information context expands. And so how you would come to say this made this, then this, changes because there are more pieces there. That's okay. You can take whatever meaning you have and acknowledging that, like, choose one that gives you power, man. Choose one that makes you feel like you can go forward. If you've been through a bunch of shit, see how that has, like, let's see. Do you want to give it a poor me meaning, or do you want to give it, a development of character meaning? Like, you get to choose. Me, M-E, meaning. It's up to you, buddy. Okay, so we have what happened, the objective facts. Allow yourself to look at those as simply as possible, like a child would say it. Then you have your ideas as to why that happened and how it's related to everything else. And then you have the meaning that you apply to it. These are all things that you do pretty much automatically without recognizing you're doing it. And as such, you don't see that there are other ways you could think about it because it's happening so fast. And then as time progresses, you'll have ways that you say that underlying thing changed you to do this, to do that, and like, this is all true. Like, it can and it will. But what I'm trying to illustrate here very advancedly is that these you established internally, which means you can reestablish them, which means that if they're not working for you, you have some room without having to do anything about this bottom line. Okay, so in letting go, the number one idea that's likely causing you grief is that it shouldn't be the way that it was or the way that it is. This doesn't mean that it was okay. Whatever fucked up thing, they did, you did, whatever hurtful thing, it's not okay. It's not okay. But it is, period. Is, as in, like, it's the red line on the bottom. It's objectively what happened, period. It is. You don't know if it could have gone any other way. Being fixated on what didn't happen and how it's wrong or what did happen made what is now wrong takes away the happiness that you think you would have gotten had it gone otherwise. Which is to say, like, let's say there's a relationship in your past and you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done this, blah, 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 blah. They shouldn't have done that. If we were together, we'd be happy. Oh my God, lament, lament, lament. And you're torturing yourself, rolling over the details, talking about how you're this, talking about how's that, which takes the happiness you could have now, which you think you would have had over there, makes it go down. Isn't that silly? Isn't that silly? It's not to say you don't have something to grieve from that or learn from that or that you don't have natural feelings. It's only to say recognize when you're doing something sort of silly and counterproductive, like making yourself feel bad about something that didn't happen or did happen that you think would have made you feel good. You see? Whereas you could organize your energy and effort toward building or pursuing whatever you think you should have had initially. Today I am fired up. Let's see, anything else? Yes. What else? Okay, so we're letting go of the idea that it should have been different. In truth, like, again, you don't know, and also it's sort of silly and it's counterproductivity of holding on to it should have been different. But what else? Oh my God, what if it was right? That's a crazy idea, isn't it? What if what happened was right? And that it afforded you some kind of depth as a person, or, what if something about it was right? And if you just let it be what it was and focused forward, you would, move toward something desirable. And again, right doesn't mean it was okay. It just means that, like, you're not pushing against it as wrong. Sometimes the nuance, like when it's wrong, like somebody hurts you or does something hurtful, that might require some kind of action, might require some kind of something. That's okay. It doesn't mean you have to ignore doing the things that are prudent or right to, like, move toward justice. What I'm talking about is an internal experience where you do things without thinking that it should be different. Why? Because it doesn't serve you. This is, right? If you're a trauma baby, if you're on the T to B path, you'll likely have lots of hooks into the into the past that make you want to control what comes next, and you try to do that through understanding and analysis. And let's see, what's my point here? You won't go forward if you're latched on backwards. So, like, the set of circumstances that made you think that you should be fearful of life, if they're back there, but you're living from them here, you're gonna be stuck. What was? Who was I talking to the other day? I don't know if that made sense. If that made sense, let me know. If it makes sense, I don't think I wrapped the koi around. So I was talking to somebody the other day about something that I just wanted to share, but I've since forgotten. Anything else today? Yes. What else? You can do this rather directly or progressively. How do you do it? You notice when you start to talk about these things in your head or in your or with your mouth. Where did I go? Hold on, where did I go? I got scared. Why did I get scared? I got scared that I didn't make no. Thank you. Let's see. We'll take it from here. So, sheltering yourself because of a traumatic event will hinder your future growth. Well, I think there's nuance. Thank you for asking that. I think there's nuance. I think that there is a period of recovery that's helpful and natural, where you bring your body to balance. You kind of make your inside world and your outside world as safe and comfortable as possible, and you process what happened. What I think is detrimental beyond that point is latching on to the ideas around the event and using those in your experience. It sucked. If it sucked, of course you're going to think about it. It sucked. It was really scary. Why wouldn't you want to try to protect yourself in the future? It's being kind of honest with yourself and sitting down and saying, like, okay, well, what do I actually have control over? And when I try to take control of over other things, at what expense? And allow yourself just to be really, like, do it out on paper. What actually makes sense for you as far as exposure. You might have an idea that you should be exactly back to where you were, or blah, blah, blah. Those are ideas that don't help either. Like, this is what it is. If where you feel comfortable right now is, withdrawing, okay. But be honest with yourself about, is that really what you want? Or is there a gradual path toward, something else? Did I answer your question? Like, a good example of sheltering yourself because of a traumatic event and then hindering future growth, I think, is like heartbreak, where you go into a relationship, it doesn't work out, and then you're afraid of relationships. And so you don't do them anymore. And that's okay. They can really hurt. And yet, what you lost in the process, what you lose by not allowing that as an expression anymore, is that worth it? It's allowing yourself to, for me, it's kind of like, I'm going to I'm gonna get there or die trying as many times as it takes. Because after I looked at all the other alternatives, it honestly is the only one that makes sense, because it's hard for me to kind of like really move myself well unless I think I'm going somewhere I really want to go. And so I've sort of surrendered to like, look, I'm gonna get up and try. I'm gonna get up and try as many times as it takes, because what else am I doing? So it seems to work for me, but I think that it's okay to, just check in with yourself. What works for you? What do you want to work for you? And I think one of the bigger blocks in having the trauma background is it's fucking impossible at first to imagine life that isn't chaotic, because you don't know. You don't know what it feels like to not have your insides jolted every which way. You don't know what it feels like to expect things to be pretty consistent and like even, So to begin to imagine that world takes some time. So just think of it kind of like you have a dollhouse and you're just, shopping for dollhouse items as you have time, which means if you see something in real life that kind of looks like something you might like to have in your world, like just put it in there. Oh, that's what that looks like. That's what it looks like when two adults share feelings that are, make them vulnerable. Or that's what it looks like when somebody says no to somebody. Like, fill out your world. Oh, okay, like it seems that like these, this couple is expecting, are talking about what they're doing next spring. Like, what must they think or feel to feel safe to do that? Let yourself build it out just little by little and play in that world. It's okay. Anything else today? No, that's it. Okay, please let me know, y'all that are out there. I think I was all over the place today, but does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions before I close up? Okay. Thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate. If you're on YouTube, these are filmed live on Instagram, Shaylee__Edwards. If you're on Instagram, please join me on YouTube. Thank you so much. I'm on TikTok now. My spirit's been telling me to for like a year. It's actually pretty fun. I'm excited. If you care to join me over there, I work with clients one-to-one. You can learn more about that at haveabook.com. I also have a tip jar now in my link in my bio if you're so inspired to contribute to the free content. And if you have any questions about getting great art for yourself or someone you love, let me know. Thanks so much for coming out.